Peeps, Kenny Molotov here in the studio. If you saw the video before this, you'd know that I lost a bunch of footage this week on a hard drive that's basically faulty. So I wasn't able to upload a vlog, which I was really excited to do actually, because we did something that was a bit new to the channel. Nonetheless, it'll come up eventually and we'll do it all again, and maybe I'll be able to salvage that footage, which I'm really hoping for. Since yesterday, I sent out a video saying I'm gonna do another Q&A. That way I can fill this week with one video for you guys. And I got a bunch of questions as of yesterday. Sorry if you didn't get the message early enough. There'll be other opportunities in the future to do Q&A, so don't you worry. Let's get to the questions. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with Siona Mafi. Hey Kenny, I've been watching your channel for the past few days. I saw your Q&A on why you became a plumber, and I just want to ask you a question. A little background on myself. I'm married with 2 kids, 25 years old, and I've been in construction before, and I like working with my hands, but I never held a job down longer than a year. Watching your videos and other channels, I'm aspiring to become a plumber. How do you go about becoming a plumber apprentice / plumber without any experience? Thanks Kenny. Any response, and best regards in your continued career. Hey Siona, thanks for reaching out. It's a little bit difficult to get plumbing apprentice positions, especially first year ones, because there's that odd little gap. Plumbing companies are essentially looking for plumbing apprentices that have experience under their belt. So getting your foot in the door is going to be a little bit difficult, but it's like anything else. You just got to continue to try and grind it out until you finally get that position. So essentially the formula looks like this. Do you know anybody that's a plumber or a plumbing apprentice that might be able to get your foot in the door? Because if you do, that's probably the best way to go about it, first and foremost. After that, if you don't have that, then it's all about marketing yourself. It's about calling up plumbing companies or actually going to their warehouse where they sort of dispatch plumbers to go to other job sites. Going there, shaking a few hands, saying, hey, my name is Siona. I would really like to get into plumbing. I'm a first-year apprentice. I would love to be signed up for my apprenticeship, or if you guys aren't signing up apprentice, I'd love to work as a laborer here. I just want to help out as much as I can and be around the tools as much as I can and be around plumbers as much as I can, because I really want to learn the work and get into this line of work. And I think that's really all that you can do at the moment. There's another option of going into pre-apprenticeship programs. I think there's another question in the Q&A about that, so stay tuned for that as well. Alright, and the next question is Ian B. Hey Kenny, since you've become a plumber, do you still have time and energy to pursue your creative ambitions, i.e. writing and stand-up? I ask this because I too am passionate about artistic things, making art and music, and I'm considering becoming a plumber, but I'd still like to be able to have some time and energy to pursue the creative stuff that I'm passionate about while working as a plumber. Is this possible, or does your whole life and mindset pretty much become devoted to plumbing and plumbing only once you become a plumber? Thanks for all your great videos, man. Keep up the great work. Ian, this is a very current story for me, and this is something that I constantly have a conversation about in my mind all the time. The short answer is yes, you're gonna have time to do these things, but there's a little bit more complexity to it. So what you gotta realize is, because plumbing is so labor intensive at some points during the year, is that you're gonna be coming home and you're gonna be beat, totally exhausted, where you don't feel like doing anything, where all you can really do is mope about till you go to bed. And that's something I struggle with quite a bit, because sometimes Dad and I have to push real hard, which means that I have to put all the art forms on hold for that period of time, which is really hard emotionally, because art kind of keeps me in the game. It keeps me feeling mentally healthy, etc. There are times as well where it's slow, and then you do have time to pursue all your musical and artistic endeavors that you do chase. So plumbing is a great career, and it's going to bring in income, which is going to be awesome for you. At the same time, you got to be prepared. There are going to be times where it's just not going to be possible or feasible. And even if it is feasible, there were times where I was so tired, but I still forced myself to go do something artistic, and I noticed I wasn't even producing my best art at that time. So I'd have to go back and completely start from scratch, or do a ton of editing of those art forms in order to make it actually look as it usually looks with my natural standard. It's a lot of juggling. That's what it comes down to. When you're in, when you're in the working class or middle class, it's, you're sweating. You're trying to make ends meet, and that's what plumbing is for a lot of the time of the year. On a regular schedule at 40 hours a week, I am totally okay to come home and work during the evening and get all my art done at that point. So, like I said, it's about balancing. You will have opportunity to do that. However, there are going to be times where you're gonna be too tired to. Mike Simons. Hey Kenny, my question is, what aspect of the trade did you find hardest to grasp or fully understand, and what did you do to overcome that? Thanks for taking the time to make these videos. They are truly appreciated. Thanks, Mike. This sorta is an evolving question, because what I had a hard time at the beginning is not what I have a hard time now, or I imagine a hard time at the end of my apprenticeship. But when I initially got into plumbing, I had a really hard time understanding what was happening behind the walls. As a service plumber, like I said in other Q&As, you typically don't see what's behind there. Especially starting in your first or second year, you're sort of like blind. You know that you got to snake the drain, but you don't really understand the route that the drain is taking. So in the first couple of years, it was really difficult for me to ascertain what the problem was because I didn't know the layout of the pipe. Once I went to plumbing school and it was drawn out for me, I finally got the picture of what's happening with these pipes, where now I can walk into a situation, find out what the problem is, and ascertain what the issue is, because I know typically what the layout is behind the walls if a plumber was doing it correctly. Sometimes you have do-it-yourself project kind of homeowners where something's going on underneath the ground that makes no sense to a plumber, so there's still always a lot of troubleshooting involved in that. An issue that I know that I still have now, which I'm constantly working on, I have a hard time orienting myself plumbing wise in a building, for example. So if I'm in a building and I know the washroom's on one corner, I'll go downstairs into the unit below, or I'll go downstairs into the floor below, and I'll have a hard time on realizing where the pipe is all of a sudden. That's something my dad's really good at, by the way. So what I have to do is I have to actively trace myself as I walk downstairs. I have to actively keep an eye out for where the pipe was so that I know where I'm heading downstairs and where the general area of that pipe's gonna be. That's something that I still have a problem to do to this day, and it's something I'm constantly working on. The way I got over the entire knowing what's behind the walls thing was literally taking the theory I learned in plumbing school and then applying it to real life. The fact that my teacher was drawing out exactly how the pipes were situated helped me a lot in visualizing what's going on behind the wall. And then after doing a few rough ends myself, I came to realize, oh, okay, so this is why you plunge the toilet, the water comes out of the bathtub. Okay, this makes a lot of sense to me. It means that the clog is actually further down, where both pipes are being obstructed now all of a sudden. So it took a lot of time for me to realize that, but it was through doing the rough-in and it was through doing the schooling that made it all make sense. So I think it has a lot to do with repetition and also constant reminders, keeping notes of what's happening during the job site as well. I hope that helps. Eric Olive, for drain cleaning, do you guys have a sewer jetter? Think you'll ever invest in one? Eric, we don't have a sewer jetter. We have something called a power washer, and I don't know if they're the same thing. I should look up what a sewer jetter is. We do power wash stacks a lot of the times, but that usually is a maintenance feature that we do for bigger buildings. So we don't typically do it unless the stack really shows us that there's a really big problem with it. Sorry, Eric, it's not a really long answer, but that's basically what it is. Amenvir Gill. Hey Kenny, currently a plumbing student, just had a few questions. How hard is it to start a new plumbing company in the GTA? And when it comes to plumbing companies, do you have to provide benefits for workers, or is that optional? My last question is it easy to find plumbing work every day if you're a one-man plumber? Amenvir, great questions. How hard is it to start a new plumbing company in the GTA? The only way you could actually open up a plumbing company is by being a licensed plumber. That's one of the rules involved and one of the reasons why plumbers end up getting their license. So if you don't have a plumbing license, you didn't do your 9,000 hours with the 3 in-class sessions, you won't actually be able to open up a plumbing company. You'll be able to open up a contracting company, but it can't say plumbing on it, essentially. In regards to how hard it is to open up a company, opening up a company is not very difficult at all. All you have to do is go on a website and essentially choose a company name that's not already being used, basically put down some money, and then you're registered as a plumbing company. That's what it takes. It's literally like 60 to 100 bucks to open up a company, so that part's gonna be the easy part. And when it comes to plumbing companies, do you have to provide benefits for workers, or is that optional? From what I know, it's optional. You do not have to provide benefits. Benefits is essentially an incentive to have people come to your plumbing company or to come to your company. So in other words, my dad and I, we don't have benefits. We're a small company. And when we looked into getting benefits for the workers, the way the insurance broker explained to us, he was saying that you don't really want to do that because you're paying so much money that's not going to be revolving correctly. In other words, if you had had 15 people working at your company, now it sort of makes sense because every single person gets $50 reducted at the end of the month from each of their accounts so that they all have like 90% benefit. So it's really cheap for everybody. But for my dad and I, if we're going to be paying $300 or $400 a month, then we're only kind of splitting it between two people. So it's not worth it at the time. The way I have it is I have my own personal insurance that I pay money monthly to, and my dad does as well. We also have WSIB. It's usually an incentive to bring workers to your place because they're thinking to themselves, wow, if I join Sigma Plumbing, not only do I get to work as a plumber, but they also give me benefits at the end of the day. Last question is it easy to find plumbing work every day, or if you're a one-man plumber? So Amanveer, this is the most important question because that's really what every company relies on. It relies on if there's demand and if people are calling you to get the job done. I think it's possible to be a one-man crew and totally do a bunch of plumbing jobs. I think the bigger jobs are going to be more difficult because normally you need 2 or 3 people to help you out with the digging, with the breaking, and if you want to do things really fast, especially if it's a big project, you want a bigger crew sort of thing. I think it's definitely doable, but that's where you sort of have to build momentum. You got to build some sort of client base, you got to start some sort of advertising, you got to sort of knock on a bunch of doors in order to get that to happen. That is always the most difficult part of any company, which is how do you get your first client, and then how do you keep the ball rolling with more and more clients? It's not very easy, but it's doable, and I think there are lots of plumbers out there that are doing it perfectly fine. Alright, we're doing Zita Fahim. I'm very interested to take plumbing as my career. Watching your videos makes me more enthusiastic, thinking to take on a short course as well. Could you tell me which one would be better, taking a course or being an apprentice? Thanks for your information. Zita, I outlined this in an earlier Q&A, but here's the basic outline. If you can get work as an apprentice, I say go into an apprenticeship right away. A lot of people have a hard time finding an apprenticeship, so they go into a pre-apprenticeship program, which is basically a course. So I say if you spend the next 6 months trying to get a job as an apprentice or a laborer at a plumbing company and you can't do that, take the pre-apprenticeship course because it's going to be at least your foot in the door in regards to learning the tools and learning the theory, etc. And then afterwards you can use that as a marketing asset when you go to plumbing companies and start saying, look, I know a little bit, can you hire me, sort of thing. So it's always more beneficial to become an apprentice right away because you're going to be right in the field right from day one. But if you can't do that, then I think it is worth going through your pre-apprenticeship and getting your foot in the door. So peeps, those are all the questions that I got as of today. I want to thank you again for sending those in. I know that the vlog's a little bit disappointing that it didn't come out. Hopefully I can salvage that footage because that would be super great. Under the circumstances that I don't, it's cool. I'm going to be shooting a vlog later this week so that I can get something out to you guys as of next week. So that's the game plan. That's the hopes. Thanks again for sending in. Like, subscribe, comment below, and I'll see you guys very soon. Kenny Molotov, guys. Peace, baby.